What's going on, you guys? As you can see, I am here with a Total Gym XLS and I'll be reviewing this machine. You guys might have saw this coming. I knew it was inevitable that I had to pick one of these machines up just because I reference it so much and I compare it a lot to the Total Gym Fit. A lot of you guys give me a lot of their own kind of feedback and comments about your particular preferences. A lot of you guys do like this machine. I thought I kind of had to do it justice eventually to give a full review and give my own kind of thoughts on it. So I won't do a direct comparison in this video between these two models. I'll save that for a video in the near future just so this video doesn't get too long. Initially in this video, I'll kind of give you guys my general comments, my feedback, some things that kind of that come to mind right when I initially started using the machine. I'll go over some of the nuts and bolts and mechanics of it if you guys are considering picking it up. Kind of a heads up that this was a used model, so I will just say that right off the bat when you guys are looking at this. I was kind of lucky, I would say, to find this at a relatively cheap price, in my opinion, at a local fitness like retailer outlet store. Like they sell like used and new fitness equipment. And when I saw the price and the guy kind of brought down the price a little bit, I thought I might as well pick it up. I was kind of eyeing one, knowing eventually I'd pick one up. So I will link this product down below in the description box, what I think is kind of the cheapest price that you can find it. I've recommended this machine a lot for a nice I'd say mid to upper level sliding bench trainer if you guys are looking to get into one. So if you guys do want to support the channel, I will link it down below. But as always, if you guys do like this content, please consider liking and or subscribing, and we'll jump right into the video here. Now, just to show you guys the setup and breakdown, it's basically exactly the same as the other Total Gym models where they got that big tower that kind of opens up. You just simply raise the back end of the machine to your setting and you're good to go. And then same thing, little notch at the bottom that kind of releases the tower, and then you go ahead and fold it, leaving that middle pulley kind of locked in, watching, being very careful for your fingers, and you're good to go. So even though I got this used, this particular Total Gym XLS did come with what I think comes standard in a lot of these models. Again, you can kind of mix and match different packages. It did come with this standard small Total Gym squat stand, and in my opinion, I'll try it later. It's good to actually try and see what the Total Gym squat stands were like. I'm not gonna say it's useless, but you're definitely gonna want the bigger squat stand. Again, I'll kind of play around with this. You guys will see me working out with it a little bit. It has some initial functions and uses. It does seem like it's pretty good, you know, construction, pretty durable. This padding seems pretty good, but definitely gonna want that bigger squat stand that comes initially if you do get this stock with one of those. The pull-up bar, I've talked a lot before, is a little bit unique design compared to other models. Unfortunately, I didn't realize at the time. It works with smaller pins. When I did pick this up, the guy did give me one larger pin, and I wasn't really paying attention to where that pin goes to, but I was supposed to have two of them. However, I can still get by, and I've been using the two smaller pins attached to this. But it was good to kind of mess around with these, and I'll kind of talk about that a little bit. I wouldn't say it's a game changer or game breaker or whatever if you have this or don't have it, but it's nice, it's different, other than having the kind of the smaller kind of wider diameter pull-up bars. It's interesting to kind of do the inverted presses on this. I think they feel good, but again, I kind of still like the separate wing dip or separate wing bar attachments. And then mine did come with another Pilates bar, so I have two of these, which maybe in the future I'm looking at giving away a lot of extra parts, and I'll be giving sort of giveaways. Otherwise, this might be something I kind of give to a family member who's looking to pick up one of these up. But I got an extra one of these, so it came with that. So that was definitely cool. Unfortunately, I already have one. One of the big distinctive features that is uniquely different between this model and the more expensive Fit model basically is in the Glideboard. It's a tiny bit wider, by a little bit. Again, I'll probably do a comparison video. I'll show you that. I wouldn't say it's like really noticeably different if I'm getting on this and doing different things. It does seem a little bit bigger as far as definitely width-wise, so it definitely feels a little more of a comfort factor if you're someone who, again, just maybe a bigger person, or maybe wants more of a stable kind of solid surface. Definitely a little bit wider. I will throw those dimensions down below if you guys want to see those comparisons between the Fit and this one, but when I do an initial comparison video later on, will show you guys that a little close and give you guys my thoughts jumping from one machine to another. But the other big distinction between this particular Glideboard and the Fit, which is kind of relatively, you could think, a big deal, but and I messed around with it a little bit, and I'll talk about that, is this secondary option for the weight bar attachment. You have a weight bar attachment down below that the Fit has, but if you kind of go further up, these were actually kind of closed off. So whoever previously had this never even took there was like little plugs that are in here that were actually, the knife's still here. They were hard to pop off, and I could see where someone purchased this and they didn't necessarily look at it too closely. They might not realize those were on there. I'm assuming the person wouldn't even use it, but it's kind of hard to pry these off. But I got these little plugs off, so that, again, you can put the weight bar attachment higher or lower. For the sake of time, you guys will see me doing some exercises on it. I honestly thought this would be a bigger difference and a bigger deal, and you guys can comment down below on how you use it. Granted, I don't use a lot of external weights. I did do an initial review of this weight bar attachment where I talked about kind of the feeling with external loads on it. So I don't know how this feels external weights. But as far as resistance bands, it doesn't feel honestly too different having the resistance bands looped onto here and connected down below and doing things like squatting. I thought it might feel a little bit different. Didn't feel that different to me. It's definitely nice to have this to attach the resistance bands on here because it definitely seems just easier to kind of just throw the bands on here. It's a convenient spot. It's cool to actually hold on to this for squatting if you really want to do that too. That's also pretty cool for like little leverage on resistance bands. So that's definitely a good plus. I thought it would be better doing my prone face down squats to hold on to this. Unfortunately, when you do it, it kind of has this rough noise, like something's clicking against here. So I definitely wouldn't recommend people doing that. Now, my first impressions about just how this bench feels and when I'm sitting on it, my initial first impressions, again, kind of still comparing it to other sliding bench trainers, most likely directly to Fit. If I really noticed any difference or kind of how does it generally feel compared to these other models, I would say it pretty much feels very similar to the Fit, very smooth, very stable feeling. Yes, as you're sitting on it, you can kind of notice that this does definitely feel a little bit wider in the legs. And that sounds like immediately like a plus for some people if you want more of a wider distance, but for sometimes I kind of like it a little bit narrow sometimes too. I don't necessarily like my legs, a little bit wider than usual, but I'm just saying that out there that just because it's wider, some people might want more of a narrower fit, and I've actually talked about that earlier on like my old Weider Ultimate Bodyworks, that I kind of like the more narrow feel for some things, especially like certain types of presses and even rows in certain circumstances. But the point is, this thing definitely feels really good, feels smooth, feels very solid. Definitely feels like you got definitely a little more room on the glide board, so that's basically definitely good. As I'm doing something like basic, like a chest press that I do all the time at the start of every workout, if you blindfolded me, I probably wouldn't be able to tell a big difference. Again, not hopping onto one versus the other, I'll do that in a separate video, but I would say it definitely is overall smooth, very good quality. Impressed with how it feels, kind of how I expected it was going to feel, honestly. And then the handles, I would say, again, these are pretty much comparable to what the Fit's handles were. Good quality. They got the same spin locking mechanism that the Total Gym tends to put in all their models. The metal on the handle looks really solid, about the same distance, I would say, compared to the Fit handles. Sometimes it can be annoying if these things are too narrow, but I think it's kind of perfect for this particular thing. The actual cable distance, I would say, feels pretty much similar to what the Fit feels like. Again, not doing any direct measurements here. We're just kind of going off the top of my head. Overall, I'd say very smooth roll. If anything, it's like a tiny bit, a little bit of a different kind of a sound in the roll. Not as totally smooth of a sound. I can't do much of again, I'm not going to do a direct comparison, but I can't say too much about that because this is a used model. It definitely seems like it was lightly used, looking at the quality of the rollers. Point is, it's still very smooth, very quiet, definitely good quality feel as you're doing the chest press. The other big, huge difference that some might argue is a sacrifice, some might consider it major, some might consider it minor. I think you'd get used to it if this was your only machine, so not a huge deal, is the fact you only have really 6 functional levels. I don't know if I'd say you have 6, but borderline 5 functional levels, the bottom levels down here. A little bit different locking mechanism. You have a safety pin. Pretty much works the same way. The quality of the material is still pretty good. I could say a couple things compared to the Fit, but the point is the only real difference here is this tower height. A little bit different on how you unlock it. Depending if you think it's better or worse, I don't know, but you just have a latch back here you pull up on, and I would say, goes up and down. I'd say a little bit easier than the Fit, but good sturdy locking mechanism. I would say the way this is kind of manufactured, I would definitely trust this thing staying in place, even if you didn't have the safety pin in, although I definitely would recommend having a safety pin. Mine didn't come with this little, you definitely could fit, I have it, my exercise card wall flip chart thing. I think it comes on most of these models anyways, but there's 2 little notches up here, you could do that. You got the little notches here to actually put the Pilates bar or Pilates cable or pulley attachment in the middle. I rarely ever use mine, but that is there too if you guys wanted it. A little bit different. I'm not saying it's different construction. It's different kind of like shinier. You'll get a different type of like metal or at least coating on the actual unit. The other thing maybe it's worth noting that's different in some of the other models in the Total Gym is just kind of the shape of where these pulleys are attached up top. Again, it's hard not to make these comparisons, but compared to the Total Gym Fit, there's somewhere to kind of hold on to that I can do some different exercises, or I don't feel like attaching the pull-up bars. I'll just grab up here and do pull-ups. You can do that here, but you're actually gonna be holding more of a neutral grip. So not a big deal, it's just something a little bit minor. So trying to make this video somewhat brief, my initial thoughts on the Total Gym XLS and also having a few days kind of working out with it is basically, it's kind of how I thought the thing would feel. It's basically definitely feels very smooth, definitely feels comparable to the feel of the Total Gym Fit. The big thing that I was kind of looking for to see how it would try out, and again, I want to get some external weights. I could try it a little bit more. That's what the difference is. It is nice to kind of have these two spots for the weight bar attachment for sure. That's awesome. Definitely good to kind of feel, and you notice this wider base in the machine. I wouldn't say it's like you really, really notice it. You notice it if you're kind of like somewhat used to maybe the Fit model, but honestly, if you had the Fit and you jumped on this for like a week, I don't think you notice it that much. But again, I'll do a direct comparison in the future video coming up. It is nice, this extra padding. It's a little more cushioned, I'll say that. But overall, the big substantial difference in is what you're paying for in this versus the Fit later, which I guess I'm kind of jumping the gun here again, is that the Fit can handle a little more higher weight load. But the big difference, and again, depending on how you want to look at this, and I addressed it, would be the only having the six increments. So the machine for sure is great quality. It feels awesome, feels totally smooth. You just don't get as many options as you would in the Total Gym Fit. Now, some people have told me before what they do is they get like a 3-inch little raise and they put it underneath, and they make something and put it underneath there to kind of raise it up to account for the different, I think it was 3-inch increments that the Total Gym Fit has. That would be cool, but again, I think I like to kind of just use it as is. I don't want to mess around with it too much. I think if you're used to just having these 6, you wouldn't really think too much about it. However, when you have all those different options and different little subtle settings that you can alter between sets and exercises, to me, I really like having that. I do like the upper feel of the Fit model. And in general, I just want to say this is definitely a solid machine. It's definitely something that's, if you might think this is actually a steal, considering that it's cheaper than the Fit, and you might want with a bigger Glideboard and this extra option for the double weight attachment. That might be pretty cool. I actually think it'd be neat too if they actually get 2 weight bar attachments. If I was going to use this a lot more, I might even opt, maybe I will in the future, opt for a secondary weight bar attachment to put one down here, one down below. I think you could do some creative things with that. Overall, this is a very solid piece of equipment. Again, I'd recommend getting the larger squat stand. I will link the video down below. The video coming up in the near future when I make a direct comparison, I will give you a little more specifics about how these machines feel kind of back to back. But this was just like an initial kind of thoughts video on the XLS because I know I get so many questions about it. So I'm happy you got a chance to try one out. Great equipment. Like I said, any questions, comments, feedback on this video or anything about this XLS machine, definitely let me know, and thank you guys for watching.